Good morning. My name is Jamala Rogers. I'm one of the co-chairs of the Coalition Against Police Crimes and Repression. And it's definitely a wondrous day for the city of St. Louis, for the residents of the city of St. Louis, but not only for the residents, because as you know, there are no boundaries when there's police departments. And so those folks outside of St. Louis have also rejoiced because of the accountability that's going to be imposed on the St. Louis Police Department. We'd like to first thank our sponsor of the bill, Antonio French, and for the hard work of Alderman Kennedy, who's been leading the charge for us over a decade now. We can't help but, thank the thousands of residents in the city of St. Louis who made their sentiments felt at the ballot box in terms of wanting local control and more accountability of the St. Louis Police Department, but also the protesters in the street, both in St. Louis and St. Louis County, who have pushed not only the city but the region towards the arc of justice. And so, even though we're rejoicing today, and I'm personally overwhelmed, this has been a 30-year struggle for some of us, the hard work is yet to begin. And I want to turn it over to John Chasnoff now to talk about what that means in the future.
Well, this is truly an historic day to see the bill perfected. We now know what its final form would be. And we also can see the turnout of support that we have behind us here today in the gallery and moving forward towards our next efforts. Because this is a project that's really only partially completed. Even when this bill passes, we have more work to do, and that's really on two different fronts. First of all, we're going to be offering two companion bills to strengthen civilian oversight and make sure that what we have is an effective civilian oversight board. The first of those bills will put on the city ballot the power to subpoena. We feel the board needs subpoena power to make sure it gets all the information that it needs. That has to go before a vote of the people to make a charter change, and our first companion bill will accomplish that. The second companion bill would create a new Department of Civilian Oversight, and that's important because we need to have an independent oversight board. Under the current bill, it's housed in the Department of Public Safety, which also oversees the police, and we feel that there will be some conflict of interest. So in order to give the board independence in its budgeting and in its thought processes, we needed a new Department of Civilian Oversight. And finally, we need to make sure that the membership on this board represents the whole city. There will be a 7-member board, one from each district as it's defined in the bill, but those people are going to be representing the whole city as we move forward to hold police accountable, and we need to make sure that we get quality members on that board and a diverse board that reflects the whole city. So the Coalition Against Police Crimes and Repression is beginning a campaign to look for candidates, to recommend candidates to alderpersons, so that we can make sure that the proper names are put forward and we get really representative people serving the community in this capacity.
And lastly, our hope, and that's all we can do at this point, is hope that the people and entities who oppose local control will now join us in making this effective oversight, because the people have spoken, both in terms of their own voices, but also in terms of the elected representatives. So we expect that the sabotage and the undermining that we had coming into this process, that stops, and that we all move forward to make this a better and safer place for the citizens of St. Louis. We're going to open up now for questions.
Why, with the big holes in this bill, you mentioned, especially the subpoena power, is it a big victory to you?
I think the way that the bill is constructed, we will always have somebody there to hear the same thing that the Internal Affairs is hearing. So there were some measures put in place to address that issue. But having subpoena power is even going to strengthen it even more.
What does this feel like for the two of you especially? This has been something I know you've been working for a long time, sort of the cause that police community and police crimes and repression has been pushing for a long time. Just sort of, when you heard that, however that happened, what was the feeling that washed over you?
Well, as I said, I was personally overwhelmed. I mean, I was almost moved to tears, even though I know there's a hard road ahead of us. because we, like I said, we've been working on this consciously since 1983 when Marilyn Banks was killed by a St. Louis police officer. So there's been lots of ups and downs, there's been many hills and valleys, but we're here at this point, and we hope that we can consolidate the support that we have and move forward.
My sense is that there's still so much work to do. Maybe tonight when I have a chance to sit down, I might reflect a little bit. But right now, I think we're focused on the work ahead. The arc of justice still needs bending further. We need to make sure that this is an effective board, that it has the powers and the membership that it needs. And so we can stop here as a rest spot. Stop here as a rest spot on the journey, but the journey's not complete.
And just for the record, there's one more vote for the Board of Aldermen this Friday before it goes to the mayor?
The next vote will be April 20th when there's a new session, and the bill will then be voted, right? This morning what happened was the board was voted out of perfection, and so it needs to be voted as a full bill come April 20th. This was a special session, this was not the regular session. So when it opens on April 20th, that board bill will be final to pass.
Okay.
But at this point, no other amendments can be made, and so all the people have assured us that this is pretty much a done deal. Any other questions?
Did you get any assurance from the 3 aldermen that did not vote to move the board forward last time?
Before the perfection today, a number of those were voted affirmative today, and there was some confusion about whether or not there was going to be amendments last time. So those people were on board this today. At least most of them, I think they were. So now we really do hope to go full steam ahead. But I think as John Chasnoff said, the real sticking point for us is going to be the composition of that civilian oversight.